The 2026 World Surf League Championship Tour rewrote history in front of the masses at Snapper Rocks.
It's just a great challenge. I can show up against these young women.
Stephanie Gilmore silenced the critics and once again immortalized her legacy as the Queen of Snapper reclaimed her Gold Coast crown. In the men's drop, another Queenslander channeled his effortless power into excellence and returned to the winner's circle on home turf.
Oh, I feel so good.
In all the Aussie glory, two Brazilians lead the rankings.
See number one.
Now, the championship tour traverses the Tasman Sea to the dramatic and diverse landscapes of Raglan, New Zealand. 50 years ago, the World Tour's humble roots grounded on the North Island. 50 years later, the world's best return to compete at the Cero New Zealand Pro presented by Bonsoy. Imagine what's next.
Good morning, kia ora. Welcome back to the Cero New Zealand Pro presented by Bonsoy. A beautiful morning once again, the world's best on hand to check things out. Third round matchups are unbelievable. A couple of big bangers to start. We saw Felipe Toledo, Cole Houshman, Alyssa Spencer, who has already made her way through to the quarterfinals. Out there, Miguel Pupo, he's chasing a second victory this season. But the big heat that's got everyone talking is the clash of the siblings, the brothers. Griffin and Crosby Colapinto will match up in the first heat of the day. And they've had plenty of time to think about this battle. Have a look at this setup at Manu Bay. Lovely to be back here in Raglan, Whangaroa, and we're loving our time here in New Zealand. We really are. We had a tricky day yesterday with some slow conditions out in the lineup, but again, the world's best stood up, delivered some great performances, and we can expect more of that today. Ronnie Blakey with Richie Lovett. Morning, Rick.
Kia ora, Ron. How are you?
Very well, mate. This is looking pretty promising. We've seen some good sets roll through this morning.
Yeah, it's shaping up really well, and of course we're excited to see the Colapinto brothers go at it in what will be another historic matchup. They're 1-1, so we're going to break the tie today.
Yeah, that's going to be huge, and obviously it was Crosby getting the win over the big bro at the last event, so this is going to be huge.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. I was just talking to Coach Tommy Witts this morning. Both brothers are feeling really good. Funnily enough, I guess inspired by Felipe, Griff took out a little 2+1, little fish to try and test that board, but I think the intel is that he's gone back to his normal shorty. And Cros on a little step down. But yeah, the boys are all fired up, feeling good, and it's going to be that brotherly rivalry that we've dived into over the last couple of events, and it's healthy, it's ripe, it's ready.
Speaking of brotherly rivalries, let's show it down to my big bro, Vaughan, who's down there for the call.
G'day, Ronnie. Yeah, I'm here in the Red Bull Athlete Zone. I found Morgan Siblick having a nice hot bath. No bubble bath, mate.
Yeah, no bubbles this morning.
Mate, give us the word on the official call, because it looks like we're running. How's the waves today?
Yeah, we're running. Pleasant surprise. There's fun little runners this morning. When they come, there's like a few waves in the set, so it's on for the day, starting with man, and hopefully it just hangs in there enough and we can pump out a big day of competition.
Give us your take on these first couple of heats, because they're huge. We've got the Colapinto brothers and then straight into Medina versus Toledo.
Yeah, we've seen these matchups before this year already, so it's going to be pretty epic. And I don't know, feel like all those lads are like in form, and it's going to be fireworks. And if they get the good opportunities, which I think they will, it's going to be insane to watch. Like, that Medina Felipe heat's going to be pretty nuts in a high performance left, which is like the opposite to what they just had, so it'll be sick.
And just finally, mate, yourself up against good mate Lobby O'Brien.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Had a couple of heats against the Lob, so over the years, so it's going to be epic, and yeah, I don't know, hopefully take him down.
Good on you, mate. Thanks for your time. Enjoy that bath, boys. It looks steamy and lovely.
Get in there, Vaughan. Oh, out there in the lineup straight away, we saw a big hustle for that inside position unfolding here, Rich.
Oh, I love this. The boys are at it already. Cross taking the inside position and Griff just wanting it. He's pushing the point. It looks like Cross. We've got another little swell line here, so these guys are just playing cat and mouse. And here we go. We might get a start to this one.
Well, shoulder to shoulder in the opening stages of this heat, but it's going to be the little bro Crosby getting things started, and he doesn't get a whole lot out of this wave, so we'll now fall into that priority situation with Griffin assuming control of the takeoff and no number of substance on the board for his little brother.
Yeah, so perhaps a slight advantage already going to Griff just by way of having priority. Cross taking off, no score on the board though, so just quick in and out. 2024 Rookie of the Year, and he's just progressing nicely in his career, isn't he, mate? He last year had a little bit of a hiccup in terms of the good results, but once he clicked into gear, he really started to find some form. As we see the replay here, so Cross just streaking down the line, you can see the wave just running off. These guys were super deep, which often happens at the start of the heat, just pushing each other just slightly out of the takeoff zone.
So just a 0.5, the throwaway number there. We mentioned the head-to-head history between these two. It's one apiece. Their first battle came in 2024. That was Crosby's rookie season. And yeah, it was going to be a tough draw. His brother has proven to be pretty strong down there at Bells Beach. Griff got the win. It was in this same round. But Little Bro got one back over in WA and defeated Griffin there. And sort of ended a bit of his momentum. He had a third place finish on the Gold Coast, Griff, so it was a great start to the year for him. And Crosby went on to get himself a quarter-final finish in WA. That's his best result this year, but this one's going to break the deadlock.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see what happens here, and obviously bragging rights going to whoever walks away the victor today. And they will move through into the quarterfinals, which, you know, to me, Ron, it starts to be a keeper result in that campaign towards a world title. You know, Griff, he has been in that conversation for several years now, and well, Cross would love to start getting into that position where we're really starting to think about him as a world title contender. And in my mind, mate, he's got all the assets. He's so accomplished in bigger waves. Pipeline got it dialed down. We've seen the performances at places like Cloudbreak as well. Just going to give a slight edge to Griff, though, just when the waves are a little bit smaller like today.
Yeah, Griff was remarkable last season. Both of the Colapinto boys started pretty slow. In fact, Crosby missed the first couple of events of the season due to injury, broke his elbow. Yep. And then it only took him, you know, 2 events to find himself in the semi-finals after that injury. And Griff, at one point, we were worried that he wasn't going to make the cut, but he came back with a strong performance at Bells Beach, and through the latest stages of the year was on absolute fire, super consistent, cracking finals, a couple of semi-final finishes. Didn't get a victory last year, but as you mentioned, Griffin's so well-rounded and has won on the forehand, he's won on the backhand. There's not a lot of regular footers that can boast that on the CT, having won both directions. But yeah, he is going to be a force again, you'd think, with just the composure and his ability to let go of poor results. He's sort of had a backward trend since the opening event of the season. A 9th place finish in WA after the semi down at Bells, and then a 17th on the Gold Coast, where we did expect him to turn in a solid result.
Yeah, absolutely. Really tailor-made to his style of surfing. Both these boys, of course, are natural footers, so they'll be riding with their back to the wave out here. But we've seen some great performances from some of the natural footers out here, really able to square up.
Beautiful morning here. Aotearoa looking absolutely beautiful, and we have seen some quality set waves. We know the conditions are a little bit slow. It's a challenging forecast, but it's been so refreshing to see this event on the schedule, and we've got so many great matchups in this third round. Let's have a look at the bracket for the Corona Cero New Zealand Pro Men's Round 3. Starts with a bang, and the fun keeps coming.
Oh, it sure does. Have a look at heat number 2. Current ratings leader, Gabriel Medina, up against Felipe Toledo, who's been a standout here. Both those guys have really owned it out here on the forehand and the backhand. Liam O'Brien up against Morgan, the all-Aussie affair. Rio against Alejo, that's a fun one as well. And then Iago Dora, standout from yesterday, up against Marco Mignot. And Cole Houshman, good to see him get through his first round heat for the year. Got a victory, so maybe kickstarting his 2026 campaign after coming up against Leonardo Fioravanti, who's on an absolute heater in career best form at the moment.
Looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah, looks really good. And then the last two heats, Ronnie, looking spicy as well.
Yeah, Italo has definitely been a marked man. Just the warm-up sessions were ridiculous. He just carries so much speed across these waves and obviously has so many different moves he can go to. So it'll be fun, but it looks like Toledo, he's limbering up. He's getting ready. We can expect fireworks. Last time he met up with Gabriel Medina was on the Gold Coast, and, man, he put together the biggest heat score total of the year. He was looking at his lethal best. And it's going to be pretty interesting to see what he rides. You can't see him really steering away from the 2+1 setup that he ran with in that last round.
He's going to ride that again for sure. I actually had a quick catch up with him this morning as well. Handed him a backup set of fins because he's got another one. He's got his backup as a little twin +1 as well. So he's just dedicated to riding that. He feels good on it. And, you know, just getting all that speed and that thrust out of those taller, bigger side fins, it seems to be working for him.
Your fins.
My fins,
your actual fins.
My Perso set. He texted me yesterday. He goes, Rich, I've got this backup board and I need another set. So he wasn't really anticipating riding that board, actually. Like, truth be told, he was going to bring it here to just have a bit of fun on the smaller days. But because it's going so well, he was like, no, I'm leaning into it. Feels good. And conditions, obviously, they are a little bit smaller than the other day when he rode it. So I think it's tailor-made for these sort of waves.
So a little bit of a wait for the first real set wave, and just as the opening stages played out, kind of worked in Griffin's favour. You know, didn't get a big score out of his ride, Crosby. There is still time on the clock, but we'll see what Griff can do now. Here he goes, the 27-year-old driving into these first couple of sections, just building some speed down the line here, transitioning nicely with a couple of backhand hits, and the way starting to steepen now and bowl out. It allows a bit more of a vertical approach. Rapid fire sequence of turns here from Colapinto. The senior version, and here goes Junior. And Crosby gets a couple of backhand hits here. You know, I think you said probably a bit of an advantage given to Griffin just based on the size of the waves. If this place is getting pounded by swell, I think the advantage flips, because Crosby in recent times has dropped some of the most unbelievable backhand clips that we've seen. You know, the kind of power and just absolute full metal approach that we saw from the likes of Conor O'Leary up there on the Gold Coast, just going as hard as he can at big sections in Cloudbreak.
Okay, let's have a look at the replay here of Cros. Nice start things off, and a second one had a little bit more energy in it, and a bit more acceleration out of that second turn. And then we know what happens with Griff. A nice, beautiful running little left, and he gets some good work done. Just sort of winds up as he gets further and further along the point here. That had some sting on it these last couple of turns. Kind of channeling a small day at lowers on the left when it's running along the cobblestones there. But Ronnie, just back to that point, Griff standing just an inch or two shorter than Cros and a couple of kilos lighter. So I guess what Griffin has in perhaps a touch more speed in these sort of conditions. If Cros does get that section, that extra weight and height can actually put some more emphasis and more sting on those turns if he does get that section to blast.
Well, such a great heat on paper. Really hoping that we see some set waves roll through here. Just over 25 minutes to go. Scores starting to roll in on that last exchange. And it is going to go the way of Big Bro. Griffin Colapinto got that priority early. Picked his moment and made it count. A 6-point ride for Griffin. Crosby turns in a 4. Such a fun clash, Kaipo, this one.
Great clash. We've been anticipating round 3 of the brothers, the sibling rivalry out here. And I love the chatter that I'm hearing in there from the set from you guys. Looks like Griffin does have the advantage here. Beautiful morning, wonderful sunrise. I think it's time for some Art of War.
Bring it.
The warrior must be prepared to spring into action at the drop of a pin. Sun Tzu.
Love it, mate. And Kipes, the chill factor is there this morning, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not warm, but I think the factor that's going to be all day, Ron, that you're bringing up is with these lulls, surfers are going to have to stay focused and be prepared, not to get too cold because there's no action, right? There's not a lot of paddling. There's not a lot of duck diving. So the chill could become a factor for surfers in these heats, especially with these big lulls.
Awesome, Kipes. Hey, mate, give us the report on the wind. We don't look to have that devil wind at the moment. Kind of offshore conditions.
Not yet. There's a little bit of a ruffle, but let's just fingers crossed right now and hope the conditions stay beautiful like this. And hopefully we get a little bit more swell coming through here in the rocks here at Manu Bay.
Yeah, Kaipo, thank you very much. And looking forward to checking in with him throughout the day as we take a trip on the 100% pure New Zealand flight cam. Have a look at the scenes. Of course, an early start today, just trying to capitalise on the last of this swell. And that crowd yet to fill in, but they were here in force over the weekend. Great to see everyone turning out to get behind these surfers. The surfers have been loving rubbing shoulders and signing autographs and setting off the fans here, Rich.
Yeah, absolutely. It has been majestic scenes down here at Manu Bay at Raglan. The crowds have just poured in here over the weekend. It is Monday morning, 7:45, and the high tide, Ron, coming in at around 10:20. So we're also trying to take advantage of the fact that that tide is rising. We're trying to get some heats done before it does get too full. And generally, like we saw yesterday afternoon on that incoming tide, it tends to pull the swell in. So fingers crossed it keeps coming.
Well, yourself and I, Rich, we've got brothers. We know about sibling rivalry, but our rivalry and our battles plays out in different arenas. But two surfers that have competed at the elite level, Jessie Starling and her big sister True, are down there with Joe.
Thanks so much, Ronnie. It is kind of crazy. These little angels, I had to stand in the middle of them. This sibling rivalry in the water is bringing up some old memories, and I can't believe it. I mean, they grew up in North Narrabeen board riders. It's one of the craziest board riders clubs in the world, and I had to get some insight. You know, we've got Jessie, little sister, True, the big sister. Jessie, it must have been nice having an older sister that just helped you kind of live your dreams and get waves when you needed them in big clashes growing up. Is that how it worked out?
No, not at all. No, I mean, True definitely helped me get waves when True started surfing before me. So when I decided to start surfing, she got good quite quick. And I was like, well, if True can do it, I can do it. And then we both started surfing at Northie. And it's hard to get waves as Northie as a Grom. So True would help me in that sense. But as soon as we got to like comps, free surfs, like True and I would hassle each other in the free surfs.
No
and
way.
Dad would be like, girls, stay away from each other. Like, we would just get so competitive, but as we got older, it simmered down a little bit for sure.
It must have been wild, True, you know, being the big sis and then starting to see the younger sis progress. Was there a moment where you're like, hang on a second, I'm the better one at the moment?
Oh, for sure. There was always a moment where I was like, hang on, I need to just stay that one step ahead of Jessie wherever I could. But, you know, there's so many times where we'd have heats together or we'd be surfing in the free surfs and she would get a good one and I'd be like, okay, I need to really level up here. But even just going for a surf with each other, the amount of times that she drops in on me, she owes me about 15 drop-ins, I reckon, and I just bank him. I'm like waiting for a pumping day at Snapper or somewhere around the world, and I can just go boop in front. I'm ready.
Big sister rules. Do you remember that clearly?
True's just lied on broadcast. Oh my goodness. Absolutely not, Jessie. Calm down.
Is there one major heat you remember experienced together where you got to trade good waves and kind of had a happy ending to it?
I think there was actually one heat and we were in Jan Juk and it was freezing cold. We were there for a Rip Curl Grom search and Jessie actually beat me in that heat. And we'd had a couple heats together and there was a few moments where I think it was one of the few times that Jessie had beaten me. I think I'd got her a fair few. But no, she got me in.
This morning.
I was so proud of her. It was really cool to see her just get one up and, you know, that her backhand is so strong, and I couldn't really take it to her out there in that one. But, you know, this heat, Griffin started off with a 6, so the older sibling. He's starting off strong, he's starting off ahead, and that's where we like to be, for sure.
Feels good. So just honestly, overall head-to-head matchups between you two?
I would love to say it's me, but it definitely isn't. It's definitely true. It's got me in head-to-head matchups, but we always hug it out at the end, and Mum and Dad would always make us hug it out before as well. So.
Well done. Well
Should we hug
done.
it out? Yeah, let's hug it out.
This is good. Happiness with the Starling sisters. Sibling rivalries are our favorite. We'll send it back to you, Ron.
Thank you, Joey. Yeah, that was awesome, and sort of giving some insights. You could almost see how it worked. You know, True, as big sister, did bring up a heat that Jessie had won, and Jessie, like little siblings do, just that ultra little competitive insight there, just wanting to upset and overcome the older sibling. We had a ride earlier on, Rick, Griffin Colapinto.
Yeah, looking really good, isn't he? Just nice and light and nimble on his feet. And these 2 turns here, a really great combination, keeping that speed going. And then he gets that third with a little bit more angle on the turn. And then Cross outside, streaking down the line. I do like the signs that I'm seeing on those turns there, where he's kind of bringing that power, that leverage of being slightly taller. But Griff definitely in sync. There was very, very clean rails through that turn, through that entire wave. And, you know, the judges really zoning in on these little intricacies of maintaining speed and really good flow in between the turns.
Yeah, he's going looking for a backup score now, understanding that 6 is a solid number, wanting to put some pressure on his little brother. Just got a clean flow. It's a small wave, but he's reading it beautifully at the moment. Loading up for the reverse on the inside, but sticks that rail in and comes unglued. And that is going to be a bullet dodged for Crosby there, who was patient on the outside. But if Griff stuck that move and put up a 4.5 point ride, you know, it would have been pretty difficult for Crosby. He would have needed a couple of rides straight away.
Yeah, you're trying to match your competitor at all times, trying to stay with them, equaling or bettering your score, just to stay in contention here. Let's have a look at the replay here of Griff. Love the movement here in the body, just keeping things weaving down the line. That's these little kind of weaves and tucks and turns through, as he's weaving down here. It's gaining speed, just going for the air rev there. Let's see what happened. So he pops it, the back foot comes off and just caught that inside edge. But was about 90% there.
Yeah, when you're landing backwards like that, your fins will grab. Sort of spun him into a bog on the toe side rail.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Tommy Whitaker on hand, coaches both the boys. Does a great job watching the heat unfold. This one always attracts a crowd. Morning, Snake. Morning, Tom. The boys are enjoying this one. They pull a crowd, the Colapinto boys, or they have in each of their big heats, because they're very popular around the comp site, well liked. And yeah, I think everyone's intrigued about how this one's going to play out.
Yeah, really good energy between the boys as well. You know, this is, I don't think there's too much, you know, animosity and aggression here. I think it's all, you know, it's love and hugs, really.
Yeah, well, there is, for sure. There's obviously a lot of love between these two, but at the start of the heat, there was some serious hustle for the inside position when priority was neutral. So it's not like they did the old Rochambeau for who was getting the first ride.
No.
They were in a competition to fight for that inside position and the early advantage. The way it played out, it worked in Griffin's favour. He turned in a 3.17 on his last ride. 5.18 is the requirement for Crosby at the moment. I think the reason they're so competitive is they're quite close in age as siblings, just a couple, 2.5 years separating these two. For me and Vaughan, same age gap for us, 2.5 years, and as a result, you know, we are very competitive. And it's funny, no matter what game we play, if I get the edge, Vaughan says it's a stupid game. If I win backgammon, he'll be like, this is a game of luck, there's nothing to it, and I'll be like, okay. And then you know, if we're playing ping pong and he beats me, he's like, see, this is a game of skill, and he won't even play me in a game of chess. He won't go there. He goes, nah.
You
boring.
are a competitive monster, Ron. It doesn't matter who it is, whether it's me or Vorno. You just have to win. You want to win every single time.
I want to win this argument, but I can't argue with that.
So finally, I get one up on you.
There you go. 100 to 1 is the head-to-head ratio. No, it's good, mate.
Healthy.
This is definitely one of the healthiest rivalries we've seen. And I think the fact that they're even now in their head-to-head matchups, it's sort of, for Griff, I think he felt bad. He's even said that he felt bad the first time that he beat Crosby down at Bells Beach in 2024. But you know, now that Cros has one back, Griff's like, all right, I don't have to feel bad anymore.
Yeah, it's on.
I want to get the advantage back in my favour. Crosby's still in this heat. He's got a 4, the second highest number of the clash so far. He's out there with priorities, chasing a 5.18. And he's still searching for that first championship tour win, Crosby. He's got the tools. He's got the surfing to do it. He's been to the semi-finals a number of times, but trying to crack his first championship tour final this year. Just over 13 and a half minutes to go to enjoy watching this heat unfold. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more right after this. Welcome back to the show. We're having a look at the Cero New Zealand Pro, presented by Bonsoy Surfline forecast. What do we got, Rich?
Mate, we've got a fading west-southwest swell that we've been enjoying the last couple of days, but it is on the trend down, so we're really trying to take advantage of these morning conditions and just utilise what's left. As we look into today, you know, when they come, it's rideable. It's super contestable, really fun waves up around that sort of chest to head high on some of the bigger sets that we saw this morning. And at the moment, we've kind of got this nice groomed offshore conditions. So that's making things easy to surf. But looking ahead into Tuesday, we do have a little bump that starts Tuesday afternoon and holds through Wednesday, then it trends down again. And then we have a more of a significant bump towards the end of the window that we're tracking. Looks like more of the wave heights that we enjoyed on the first day. So we'll keep zigzagging through this thing and then probably finish this off towards the end of the waiting period.
We'll find the waves you want to surf, see live cams down the road and around the world with Surfline Premium. You can scan that QR code for 2 weeks of free premium access, no card required. So give it a whirl. And yeah, it's been fun to check out what some of the other beaches are doing around here for you and I. This point being owned by the world's best this week. But we'll get our chance, Rich, as we get back to live action now. And Griffin, he's trying to replace a 3.17. He'd love to put his brother in combination here. And with turns like that, he is on his way. So well surfed, a waist-high wave. But he finds the space to get some quality hits in on the backhand. A lot of speed in Griffin's approach there. And under priority, he's going to bank a score.
Really impressive stuff. This is you know, textbook small wave surfing here from Griffin Colapinto. Love the way he just keeps weaving the board for speed at the start. Then when the wave starts to slow up, he just slaps it about 3 or 4 times towards the end. And masterclass in small wave surfing, really.
We've just seen one of the, well, 2 of the greatest backhand performances I think we've witnessed on the CT. Up there on the Gold Coast with Connor O'Leary on the men's side and Nadia Aristabe on the women's side. But when you think about Griff's backhand, I think it's the smoothest backhand on the CT.
Yeah, it almost disguises how powerful and impactful these turns are, just because they are so smooth and done with so much rhythm and flow. This is great how we can just see he keeps everything moving down the line. And on the backhand in these smaller waves, you actually don't have to turn your head as much. See how his eyesight is always looking down the line, anticipating the next turn. When the waves are bigger, you get that moment that you touched on yesterday where you're squaring up, you're doing more of that figure 8 motion, and you're actually looking backwards. You lose eyesight of down the line, but in these smaller conditions, Griffer's eyesight always down, looking, anticipating for that next move.
It was really cool having Kehu Butler in here yesterday too, because he touched on that. Once that devil wind really starts to kick up, it's pretty light at the moment. You know, on your backhand, really changing your eye line and looking back into the bowl through those backhand snaps can create blinding moments, and you don't see the details of the ribs in the face. And I think Griff's paying attention to that and keeping an eye down the line and really picking apart those little sections. Let's hear from the coach of these 2 incredible surfers down there with Vaughan in the Red Bull Athlete Zone.
Thanks, Ronnie. Tom, when these 2 first met up against each other a couple of years ago, you know, it felt like a cool novelty, but you put the brotherhood aside and it's starting to become a very real thing that this is a rivalry that is, you know, going to happen quite a bit, and that they're both going to have to deal with as they both hunt a world title.
Well, 100%. I'm sick of it, to tell you the truth. I don't know what's going on.
Get used to it, brother.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with these heat draws, but it is what it is. And it sucks they're matching up so early, you know. They both got dreams of being a world champ, and you get knocked out this early and one of them has to get knocked out. It's a little dent to the world title campaign, but it's what we've got to deal with, and they've been dealing with it really well. We've had some really fun afternoons and really fun classic dinners and talks, and they're out there to give it their all, and sort of whatever waves fall their way, I guess, go as hard as they can.
I mean, you've been a top-line athlete yourself. You know how sort of self-absorbed or how much energy you have to put into your own program to have success on this tour. You know, these guys have each other as a support network, but they've also got to look at that other person as someone who's standing in their way.
It's unique because, yeah, as you have a brother usually that sort of drives you to be better and bigger, you don't really match up to take each other's dreams. You're just sort of driving for that same dream. So, like I said, we had an awesome dinner last night and did a bit of gratitude talking about each other, and Cros really just sort of laid it out that, mate, I wouldn't be here without you. So I'm ready to beat you and take you down without a doubt, but like, thanks for everything, and let's just go at it.
That's beautiful, man. We saw a great package that the WAS team had put together about these 2, about their battles so far, and there was a great clip of you saying, I thought I was going to enjoy this, but it's actually torture.
You do. I went into it thinking, let's just have fun and enjoy this whole thing. You know, we're on the big stage, it's what we want to do, put on a show, but then all I feel was the pain of the person who was behind. And that was Griff for so long of the Cros, and then Cros got the wave, and I instantly went, oh, Griff, that's heart-wrenching. So it's not that enjoyable as a coach. Obviously, you're going to lose one of your players out of the event. So, you know, it is what it is.
Tell us about the strategy when you turned up to the beach this morning, to Manu Bay, I should say. And, you know, we know that there's big lulls, but when their waves come, it's beautiful. Like, I mean, it's a beautiful little canvas. Even at sort of, you know, sort of knee high, I guess, we're able to see some of the best small wave surfing in the world. So, you know, how did you keep them positive, and what sort of advice were you giving both the boys?
The boys were fired up. We rocked down here this morning on dark, and it was a little sleepy, and then we did see a couple of sets, and we did the standard sort of time the waves and all that, and there was a couple of sets opportunity, and then a couple of maybe under priority opportunities, and it's just worked out that the tide's swallowing up those opportunities a little. And Griff's just sort of gone the under prior ones, and he's looking pretty damn sharp. I think we got Cros taking one now to get back in the heat, so he's got to sort of build some board speed. Hopefully he can put a couple little combos together.
Mate, thanks for your time. We'll throw it back to Ronnie.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy.
Thank you, Vaughan. Yeah, it's looking like a good wave for Crosby. This is what he needed. He needed to keep on pace with Big Bro. who dropped a 5.33 on his last wave. And Crosby was more than a point behind, looking at their lowest scoring ride. So this one's going to give him a chance here. But only 5 minutes remaining and priority with Griffin on the outside. Things definitely working in his favour at the moment, Rich.
Yeah, I think he had to go that wave, though. Cros had to get things started. Let's have a look at the replay here. So a quick snap to start things off. Now he builds for speed. The wave starts to slow up, tags that first section. I like this little combination of backhand slaps through the middle part of this wave. The wave, it starts to trend down, but he gets some work done right at the end there. So a couple little stings to finish off.
Bit of that authority you spoke about with that extra height, leverage, and a bit more weight. And Cros has got to put the head down here. 4 minutes to go. You heard Tom Whitaker there. He's encouraging Cros to put his head down and really power back to the takeoff zone. If you've just joined us, Morena, welcome, good morning. We're loving being here in New Zealand, where we're seeing the surfers tested on a high-performance left-hander, challenging forecast for the event. The competitors are aware of it. They know it's go time. And they're getting busy and staying very positive in their performances. Big match up here, so much to look forward to. Up next, we will see the world #1 hit the lineup. Gabriel Medina will be taking on Felipe Toledo in another classic rematch. Big numbers falling last time these two met, and their head-to-head history is pretty incredible. So looking forward to watching that one unfold, but have a look at the boys. No small talk here, no chatter. Yeah, I wanted to make the point before. They're quite close in age, so the rivalry is pretty intense. Not as intense as what we saw from the Irons brothers back in the day, where they were, you know, at different stages rocking up with black eyes after scrapping. But here's the IC score update. 5.53, Crosby's right back in it. Needs a 5.81 now. But in contrast to their age difference, you know, Miguel Pupo and his brother Samuel, there's 9 years between them, and Miguel plays a much more paternal role. Yeah. And their rivalry is a little less intense. Feel the same way with Vaughan and our younger brother Tom. He's 11 years younger than me, and we just look after him, basically. Thank God, because he's 6'4" and a scary human. Here we go. Cros loading up on the inside, really needs to do something exceptional here to turn the score in, the required number. That is remarkable small wave surfing, but I think he needs a bit more face in that wall, Rich.
Yeah, I just don't think that that wave was going to offer him that 5.81. We're at the backdoor 2-minute countdown. So Cros is going to have to motor back out and hope for another set to come through. But geez, that's some really good small wave surfing here, as you mentioned, Ronnie. Let's see, just even the paddle in, he had to paddle so fast to get speed. Just this rhythmic backhand approach, snap after snap, just really just working it down the line. It was only until these final moments where he started to get some more pivot on the turns. But that's not going to be it.
The most unfortunate thing about these two meeting in Championship Tour heats so far, this is their third exchange, is the fact that they've had pretty tricky conditions to deal with all three times. Bells was super slow. Crosby was robbed of opportunities really in that heat. And then Margaret River, we had a tricky forecast there, and it wasn't a full-blown, you know, wave for wave exchange. So that was pretty intense. And then obviously here, again, small waves. So I'd love to see these two meet in pumping conditions at some point in the future. Score coming through for Crosby on that last one was a 3.47. Needs more. Could be a couple of waves in this set. Griffin Colapinto with priorities going the first ride. So we might see a good exchange here in the final stages. Griff's trying to improve on a 5.33. Gets a couple of nice hits in here. Rolling through to the inside. Again, just flowing beautifully between his manoeuvres, maintaining his speed, but that one just didn't have the same kind of punch as his previous scoring rides. 15 seconds to go here.
Yeah, it's coming down to the wire here. It looks like Cros just eyeing off this last little swell. in the set, but it is not going to be it. Geez, they both surfed really well, given the conditions. I mean, Croz was lightning fast on some of those little runners, but I just think the nature of the rhythm of the sets and Griff just had a better flow.
Most definitely. You heard Tom Whitaker saying it when we rocked up here this morning. You know, that sunlight punching through the bar, the river mouth here. And yeah, it shone light on a pretty promising lineup. There was some good set waves rolling through. The competitors were quick to get to the beach marshal and check in. But the decision has been made to call the event off now after we were wave-starved in that exchange. And the frustration from Crosby was there, but I think all the competitors are super aware, Rich, of just what we're dealing with here at the moment.
Yeah, it really is a tricky forecast. And looks like Croz is just going to shed the jersey and maybe just stay out there and take a moment to digest what's happened. But it is you know, we can't manufacture waves, unfortunately, out of thin air. We just got to deal with what the ocean is dishing up. It is a tricky forecast. There are these little bumps in the swell. We're looking at everything from the kilojoules in the swell to the, you know, the space between the sets, everything. We're kind of got all the data at hand, and we just got to make the best of it.
Let's get the official word from Vaughan.
Thanks, Ronnie. Here with our heads of tours and competitions, Renato Hickel. Mate, we turned up this morning. There was some beautiful little waves breaking, and the event was called on. What's happening now?
Incredible waves this morning. And it was a no-brainer to start the event, talking to all the surfers and the coaches, and the guys and girls having really nice waves. And this tide just wonks it. And we start the event 3.5 hours before high. And it just goes to show, like, we're on the hands of Mother Nature. Was a really difficult hit, this first one, and I talked to Medina and Felipe, the surfers in heat 2, and we decided to pull the event off for today. That is we're moving to better tides from tomorrow onwards, so we're gonna try again tomorrow. Same call at 7:15 for a possible 7:35 a.m. start with this heat. Today we're hoping to do the 4 heats. We did 1. That's the way it goes sometimes.
It is. And what's the forecast looking like for the rest of the window, mate, particularly in light of the fact that the tides are getting better?
Yeah, the reason why we're pushing these heats is because we don't have any other, at this stage, we don't have any other size surf days on a forecast. Maybe on a weekend. We're hopeful that by Sunday and Monday, the last 2 days of the waiting period, we can have better news and these storms materialize. At this point in time, we still can't count with these 2 days on the window. So regardless of what happens, we're going to have to run heats in small surf. And we're going to, as I said, we're going to try to get the best tides, the best moments with the wind too. We know the winds, like yesterday afternoon, were in our favor. So we're going to have to cherry pick the moments to try to put the surfers in the best possible conditions.
The best surfer in the world has to be the best in every condition.
They have to adapt, definitely.
That's it. Thank you, mate.
Thank you.
Thank you for the update, Vaughan. Unfortunate that we didn't get to see the fireworks in the brotherly battle. It is Griffin Colapinto successful in that first and only heat of the day here at the Corona Cero New Zealand Pro presented by Bonsoy. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have a chat with Griffin and have also a talk about some of the other big matchups we can look forward to in this event. Welcome to the Corona Cero post show. It's going to be a quick one. Just one heat today. We had high hopes of getting through a number of heats with some big matchups established in that third round. But unfortunately, a little wave starve, the tide killing the conditions, and the call was made after heat one to wrap things up. Here's the brothers digesting the result.
Sacrificial lamb, heavy.
That's not, huh?
And then they start very much enjoying us at their waves this morning.
I'll go down there.
You heard Jake Patterson say it, the sacrificial lamb. It was a bit of a guinea pig heat, but, you know, as Renato touched on before, the forecast, it's a difficult one, and we're trying to pick the eyes out of it. And we did see quality waves out there when we rocked up this morning. We were like, yeah, we're on. We sat down and we were ready to go, Rich.
We were. Look at us. We're ready.
Wasted a shave.
Yeah. Anyway, unfortunately, yeah, the tide just, it moves so quick here, and we've talked about the coefficients being so big. You know, there's 3 metres in this tide from high to low. So things happen quickly. The waves that were on offer this morning just got swallowed up, unfortunately, and it kind of happened towards the end of that heat. So both surfers, I guess, not getting equal opportunity in the end, and that's why we had to call it off.
A critical heat for both surfers too. You think about Griffin, the way he started the year, also had a 9th and a 17th through that Aussie treble. So if he had a 17th again, he's hanging on to that 9th. If you're a world title contender, you don't want those results so early in the season. And then obviously Crosby, on the other hand, already a couple of 17ths for him, and now he's going to be hanging on to one.
Yeah.
And that's really going to hurt his chances. That means you need to make up those points with victories.
Yeah, 100%. So it really does make it difficult to go for that world title. It's not over. You can certainly get in that world title race for sure, but you would need a couple of wins. And you know, Cros hasn't even got one yet. We feel like it's just around the corner. I mean, he's surfing so good and he's come such a long way. And I even feel like with Cros, you know, the last couple of years, you know, Griff's almost acted as a mentor to him, and he's looked at what Griffin has done to gain success, and even down to how he composes himself mentally and physically, and he's kind of shadowed that. But I feel like now Cros is kind of getting into his own space where he feels comfortable and doing his own thing. So, mate, that win's just around the corner, and, yeah, it'll happen.
Yeah, we saw Griffin helping Crosby digest poor results in the start of the season and ensuring him that he's got what it takes to turn that year around. He's going to have to be doing that again, Vaughan, but the deadlock has been broken. And Big Bro sitting on top 2-1 now.
Yeah, that's right, Ron. Griff, on paper, you know, it's a lot of fun to see you two in the lead up to a heat against each other. And the truth is like for both of you, you've become roadblocks between, you know, realising your own dreams. So it's an odd one, but, you know, you got the jump on Crosby in that one.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's been super strange. I mean, that was our 3rd heat on tour together now. And each heat we've had has been really average waves, like really average. So I guess maybe we have to wait till the final, till we get the final together. But yeah, it's hard, you know. It's 3 events in a row now. Like even Snapper, if we both won our heats there, we would have matched up in this round as well. So it's definitely been quite a weird like mental challenge, mental hurdle is on the road, like, you know, during this leg, and knowing that we'll be the ones to not let each other get the finals day, which sucks because, you know, like we feed off each other so much. So but yeah, I guess it's just part of the game, and there's so many more events this year. I think there's 12 events, which is the most we've ever had. So, you know, it's okay to have couple L's here and there, but yeah, he'll be in my camp the rest of the trip, and I'm sure we'll have a blast.
That's it, man. And just a little bit of insight. Like, we both know that you guys have pretty busy brains that you like to try and keep quiet. Like, when you're in a heat like that where you've got so much downtime, particularly against your brother, you know, what is the head noise like?
It's kind of tricky for sure. Like, I feel like we both have like really big hearts and we care a lot for each other. So it's like sometimes you could start like feeling bad, like, oh, like this is gonna, like, if I'll be so sad for him or whatever. But you gotta just like, I think for me, it helped a lot that he beat me in Margaret's, because it felt like, okay, I'm going to get him back. Like, going into that, I like had a really strong feeling I was going to beat him. And I think it was because of the last one, you know, I was like, it was more cutthroat, you know, than last time. So, yeah.
Won't keep you too much longer, mate. But just Cross aside, you know, you're into the quarterfinals. That's a great result here in New Zealand.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. 4 events on the road's legit. I don't know if I've ever done that before, so feels good to you know be finishing the leg with a little more momentum. But yeah, I'd really like to win the contest. You know, going backside feels really good for me, and this place is beautiful and there's a lot of good energy, and so just going to be feeding off that.
And just on a personal note, mate, thanks so much for getting one back for the big brothers. Let's go, the big brothers.
We're out there next, Vaughan. Yeah, there is the brothers. So as we mentioned now, Crosby's had a couple of 17s. He'll hang on to a 9th. As we see the highlights, there was only a few of them reaching that opening heat, but small wave mastery here from Griff.
Yeah, incredible stuff. Just so much flow and momentum through his turns. And just watch here, there's some great moments from Cros. He really does sting some of these sections. But you can just see how he's actually having to pump for speed, whereas Griff on his rides, he was sort of weaving down the line, just maintaining all that forward projection. And then he was getting to these little sections and just powering off the top. Zap, just really slapping it down the line. And it was some mastery from Griff, and again, I say he was kind of channeling just small little lowers, these running left-handers. So we know that Cros will come back bigger and better. There's some really good turns there through that section. This was Cros's best wave, and just using his weight and height to really put a little bit more power than Griff was putting into his turns, but unfortunately, you know, the 2-wave combo, it went the way of Griff, and just some frustration there from Cros at the end. It sort of rubs a little bit of salt in the wounds as well when they call it off straight after your heat.
Yeah, I know you've experienced that, Rich, as a championship tour surfer. You're in marginal conditions, and then the call goes out over the speaker at the end of the clash. This is going to be the last heat of the day. You're like, what?
Anyway.
But anyway, you know what? I think even though it's a 9th for Crosby just to survive that second round and get himself a 9th place result is a positive when he was hanging on to 2:17. So, you know, something he can really build on. And for Griff, just crucial for him to get himself back into another final series after kind of suffering from a bit of a downward trend after the semi-final start.
Yeah, for sure. He's kind of corrected the ship there a little bit, and the trajectory's looking good again. And, you know, I mean, Tommy said it. These guys are both thinking about world titles, and in particular, Griff's been there for a few years now, right in that conversation, challenging. So, you know, this is, he'll sit in the quarterfinals. You know, if we don't get competition underway, he's already kind of comfy with a minimum 5th place finish, which feels good.
Definitely so many big heats. We had a look at them. Let's check it out again. The Corona Cero New Zealand Pro bracket here for the 3rd round. Griff already powering through to the quarters. That next heat, it's a big one. You know, 2 of the best in that second clash, and I think they would have been probably chirping a little bit to the Office of Tours and Competitions, just saying, are we really doing this right now? Because they are, you know, obviously 2 of the absolute beasts in this championship tour event, and it's a really important heat in the context of a world title campaign.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Felipe's looking to really get some ground back on Gabriel Medina, who has just been in incredible form. And you know, Felipe feeling so confident and so good on his equipment at the moment. If there was a chance, he would have pushed to go out there. So I think it's great that both the boys just stand down, and we'll just wait for another day to get things underway. But that whole round there's some incredible matchups.
Interesting one for the Australians too, who did so well to bounce back in a big way on the Gold Coast in pumping conditions. It's been decimation here in New Zealand again for the Aussies, and two of them meeting in that third round. And Liam O'Brien and Morgan Siblick. Jack Robinson still alive on the bottom side of the draw, and he's looking pretty good.
Yeah, I think Jack was definitely, for me, one of the standout surfers of yesterday. Looks to be in great form again. The board's looking mint under his feet, so congrats to JS. But yeah, just unfortunate that Morgan and Lobby are meeting up, because they're both sort of needing a good result. They both look like they're back in form again. But may the best man win.
Most definitely. Gabriel Medina's form has been undeniable, and bar a priority blunder over in WA, he'd probably have a championship tour event win already this season, but he has looked like the man to beat at each stop on the schedule so far. It's great to have him back. Let's hear a little bit more from the three-time world champ.
When I first discovered my love for surfing was when I went surfing with my best friend. I just like the vibe, you know, all my friends playing, surfing, doing fun stuff. So I don't know, I just fell in love. I wanted to do that every day. Surfing is my meditation every day. It's where I think about my life. Doesn't matter how big the problem is sometimes, but it feels like everything is in control when you're out there, you know?
Gabriel Medina is going nuts. He put me through this thing. Are you kidding?
I think we are more in present when you're out there. So every time that I go to surf or I'm in a heat, you don't think about much, you know? You just enjoy the moment there. You're present, you know? So it's just a peaceful place. Yeah, I love my friends. It's good to have good friends. I mean, I like to share moments with my friends, with my family, and yeah, sharing is love, so I love them.
Lining up another one here, looking at backdoor. This is a big wave. He's locked in. He should come through this one. Here he comes. Oh Medina, the hands go up.
It's good to find something that you like to do as work, so we don't need to work every day, you know. And surfing is like that for me.
We give you the 2014 World Champion, Gabriel Medina.
I feel blessed to be where I am today, you know. Yeah, surfing changed my life, you know, my family's life, even few friends, so yeah, I feel blessed.
Gabriel Medina, your 2018 world champion.
I put a lot of work. I had my dedication for the sport, and just with a goal in my mind, you know. I wanted to be a world champion. I wanted to change my life. I know I was just a kid and with a lot of dreams, you know.
Medina looks like he's got a gigantic round. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It is official. Gabriel Medina, now three-time world champion.
When you start, you don't think you're gonna get there, you know, until you get there. You just need to have the faith and work every day. And I was really blessed because I got there with a small age, you know. Everything happened really fast in my life, so yeah, after winning my title, I wanted to keep going, you know. Yeah. Today I'm 3 times world champion, but a lot of ups and downs. It's about finding the balance, I think, you know, all these years, and it's a roller coaster, you know. So.
Gabriel Medina, tricampeão mundial de surf, local da Praia de Maresias, o surfista que mudou a história do surf brasileiro.
Yeah, I love to surf when there are a lot of fans on the beach. Yeah, I just like to perform good, you know, go big, and when I'm out there, I always try to get a 10 or something. Yeah, I try to go big. You try to show your best, but imagine if there's no one watching. I wouldn't get excited, you know. So it's different, the vibe, and you feel the love. You know, everyone like screaming your name and saying, you know, positive things. It's funny because it's something that I like to do and I have fun with it. But they get so happy that I'm doing what I love. You know, it's so weird, but it's a good feeling. You know, I know they're gonna get happy, so I try to do my best.
Now you've won Rottnest and Margaret River. Can we all finally say that we love each other? Aussie, Aussie, Aussie!
I love being a professional surfer, yes. Yeah, people sometimes ask me, oh, if you were not a surfer, what would you be? And I have no idea.
Clap, clap.
Yeah.
Rick.
Unbelievable.
How is the vision? You and I were watching that unfold, slapping each other, just going, how's the highlight reel that this guy has collected in what's been a remarkable career already? So good to have him back. I think the sabbatical served him pretty well. It's reinvigorated his love of competition. Clearly he loves surfing, but he is a remarkable talent in the fact that he does his best surfing in that jersey. He's not restricted by the pressure of that jersey. And he is an absolute freak. Just so many big moments in all kinds of conditions. And he has got his hands full in this third round. He's up against a two-time world champion in Felipe Toledo, who had his number on the Gold Coast. As strong as Medina's been, Felipe this year looks to be back to his best, maybe in career best form.
Yeah, unbelievable stuff. Felipe is just looking fitter than he ever has in the last couple of years, and that matchup in particular, we've got the rematch from the Gold Coast, but you know, Medina's just on a laser-focused edge to win this next world title. You know, during that piece, the Medina, I just want to acknowledge too just how much he's progressed as a human, as a man too. You know, I've had a lot to do with him through different, you know, working with FCS and seeing him grow in his maturity and what he gives back to the sport now has been quite remarkable. He's a totally different human to what he was, you know, a decade or two ago. He gives so much now to the fans, you know, and his aura, he's got this presence. When he walks into the room, it's almost like a seismic shift in the energy, and I haven't seen it since Kelly, and he's got it, and it's pretty remarkable to be around. So, you know, that matchup in particular with him and Felipe is going to be just amazing to watch. Let's just fingers crossed that the waves turn up.
Yeah, he's had a magic run so far this season. His worst result was on the Gold Coast, losing out to Felipe there, but still maintains that #1 position, and it is certainly a good shot at going all the way with that amazing forehand. There's been a few big names swiped out of the draw here at the Corona Cero. New Zealand pro though, Rich.
Yeah, George Pitter, unfortunately, he's going to get leapfrogged a couple more times perhaps in this event. You know, coming off that win at Margaret River, but out of the event now, that hurts. And also Ethan Ewing and Sammy Pupo. Samuel's been one of the standout performers of 2026 so far, but you know, a fairly heavy-looking men's ratings at the moment in terms of the competitors that are still in the draw. Lots of movement potential there.
Yeah, it's really interesting to have the two finalists from that last event get knocked out of the comp here so early. Just felt like Ethan Ewing and Connor O'Leary were really building together and putting together finally some good heats, and both surfing really well here. But you know, the conditions have certainly played a part, but you can't blame it.
No.
I mean, everyone's out there dealing with the same kind of stuff.
Yep, yeah, that's true. You know, the conditions are the same for that 35 minutes for both competitors. You just need to be the one that comes out on top. I had Conor O'Leary picked in my fantasy surfer team. He's out. I'm devoed. I thought he was going to go a long way in this one. But, yeah, you know, this is surfing. This is why we love it. We buy into it.
And also you get situations where surfers down the back end of the ratings, desperate for results, start fighting against those top seeds. And that's been the case in the top side of the draw when we have a look at the women's quarterfinal bracket here. And it has been a story of some upsets. Bar Gabrielle O'Brien, who survived and got herself through. But, you know, there is still a number of surfers left in this draw. Well, a couple that are chasing their first championship tour wins, Rich.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the Alyssa Spencer, who's on the rise, she's been improving just incredibly over the last 12 months, is looking really good. Sawyer Lindblad as well. I think she surprised us at this event on the forehand, feeling really comfortable. Both those surfers would love to get a first-time victory. Everyone else has had that taste.
You'd like their chances too in that top side of the draw. I mean, Sawyer Lindblad, her forehand's remarkable. Alyssa Spencer, light-footed, but has that sting in the lip when she gets the opportunity. So this is maybe the best opportunity these two have had at a CT win. And on the bottom side of the draw, heavily stacked.
Yeah, absolutely. Molly Picklum, the current world champion, up against Betty Lou Sakura-Johnson, who's had a couple of championship tour event wins now. And is full of confidence coming into that one. She's made it very, very clear that she's going to show the more established veterans zero respect. She just wants to take them on down.
Carissa Moore, she looks so good. We're all enjoying that inspirational story. Coming back as a mum, travelling with her family. She's got a sister too over here in New Zealand. They're just enjoying their time between heats. But Carissa, again, looking really sharp and very strong, dropping one of the biggest numbers of the year, you know, on the women's tour.
Yeah, she had an incredible heat yesterday. Got one of the longest rides we've seen in this competition. For sure, but you know, in 2026, she's felt relaxed. She's looked really, really good. I don't think the level of her surfing is actually representative of the results that she's been getting, because, you know, she is surfing that good. She looks like she's in mint condition. So yeah, I feel like this event she could go a long way. She's been, you know, if she takes that current form from yesterday, she'll be a hard one to beat.
Yeah, and with Caroline Marks in the mix, Sawyer Lindblad, it's looking like a pretty good event for the Mayhem stable. Matt Biolos will be pretty happy about that, because he had a tough go at it on the Gold Coast when you start thinking about the Surfboard Empire Shaper Rankings presented by Vaya.
Yeah, this is a great series that we can really lean into now, and it puts the board brands and the Shapers in the spotlight. Darren Hanley on top of the world at the moment. With the double victory at the Gold Coast, the last event. Matt Biolos under the Lost brand. He's dominated this Shaper Rankings over the last few seasons. And we know Channel Islands wants to get in the mix as well. They've placed in third, Sharp Eye and JS. JS is on the move. You know, he's really increased the amount of surfers that he's had over the last season. And, well, we all know that we've implemented a new rule as well now. So only 2 surfers counting from the quarterfinals onwards, just to make it a little bit more of an even playing field for those brands that only have a couple of surfers on tour.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. Griffin Colapinto winning the first and only heat of the day, getting the jump on his little brother, Felipe Toledo. They are going to jump in the soup together, and Rich, we might go join them. What do you reckon?
No way I'm getting my rig out with those guys around.
Well, no, you wear a steamer as well. But no, it is time for us to go and enjoy everything this beautiful country has to offer. 7:15, we will make the call for a start. So tune in then and check out worldsurfleague.com and have a look at the amazing matchups in the women's quarterfinals and also in that third round. We'll see you tomorrow.
This copyrighted event broadcast is produced by the World Surf League for broadcast around the world and may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the written consent of the World Surf League.